Welcome to ET Now. You're watching Super Achievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat, the special show where we bring you inspirational stories behind some of India's biggest corporate successes. Today, we're bringing you two special conversations. First up, Prayag, India, and then with Deepak Nitrite.
A brainchild of Deepak Aggarwal, Prayag, India is a leading manufacturer of sanitary ware products and bathroom accessories. Since its inception in 1986, Prayag has been a front-runner in creating a complete range of sanitary ware products. Having revolutionized PTMT technology at the production level, today, Prayag, India is a market leader in the PTMT segment of faucets and showers. Prayag boasts of an impressive clientele including public sector institutions such as CPWD, Indian Railways, NTPC, BHEL, SAIL and ONGC, as well as leading private residential builders, real estate companies and architects. Prayag's product portfolio includes a range of bathroom fittings such as basin waste system, stainless steel sink, bathroom cabinet, stainless steel faucets, seat covers and flush cisterns among others. With a manufacturing plant strategically situated in Bhiwadi, Haryana, comprising of the latest technology and an extensive dealer network spread all across India, Prayag, India is looking to scale to greater heights.
Thank you very much for speaking with us here on ET Now. Let me start by asking you to talk to our viewers very briefly about the journey and the history really behind Prayag, India.
Prayag has been started in 1986 with the concept of plastic taps. That time the Indian market was way behind in the faucet industry. So we came up with a revolution coming up with plastic taps, which is economical in the cost and having a very long life. Where the brass taps or other metal or other products in the market were giving a life from 6 months to 1 year. We were committing a life to 7 to 10 years. And that product, after few years, when it got actually promoted in the market after 3 years, was giving a life to 7 to 10 years. And have saved a lot of water and a lot of money of a lot of end users.
Talk to us about at what point of your journey you've decided to move from those initial days, like you're saying, you had plastic taps, etc., to where you are today. Where did the idea for that come about? Where did the thought process come? And at what point did you decide to continue that journey and move into this space?
I've joined this company in 2007 when I have visited a few of my dealers and distributors and actually understood that the brand perception is very good. And people are really expecting a lot of products from the same brand, from the company, with the same kind of commitment what we were giving in the plastics. So with that, we started with the kitchen sinks, faucets and brass. Then a few years back, we have entered in the plumbing. So today, we have more than 1,500 products, right, from plumbing to faucets.
You were talking about, the branding, the brand perception. I'll come back to that in a bit, but I want to talk about really, you operate, I understand, in the B2B segment. Why is that? Is, your industry, your market largely concentrated around that area? What are some of the opportunities and what are some of the challenges of operating where you're selling directly to wholesalers?
This product needs education before putting in a bathroom or in a kitchen. So end user doesn't understand what product is correct for their usage. So they need a guidance of a dealer or a plumber or an architect, whosoever is coming or guiding him for the renovation and all. So B2B, it helps us to getting a reach of the product to that local market. In that local market, then what education we give to our plumber on the time to time. We conduct almost some 50 to 60 plumber meets every month, in which we educate more than 2,000 plumbers, where we educate about the right product, what they should promote to their end users, what our product can help them with the new modernization of new architecture or the usage of the new customers.
Okay. I want to talk about e-commerce. Today you can buy pretty much everything that you want on e-commerce platforms. How do you work with e-commerce companies? What's your e-commerce strategy?
A few months back, company has launched our e-commerce platform. It is to educate or to get a price or product check for the consumer. He can do that with that e-commerce help, sitting any part in anywhere in any part of the India, where what price he is getting in the local market and what company can offer directly. So if he is getting a better offer in the local market, he can go for that. Otherwise, either he can negotiate with the local dealer or he can buy directly from the company, whatever requirement he has.
Okay, let's talk about the role of government in your industry. For about 2.5 years now, we've seen an entire focus as far as Make in India is concerned, and companies like yourself directly play in that market when it comes to Make in India. Any benefits, any support that you've seen coming out of this initiative? What more would you like to see, and how are you sort of playing in with that?
See, if I frankly say, from the government side, not much benefits are there for in terms of making India. But yes, that kind of spirit is coming in the people, where a lot of people have shifted from their own industry to as a trading hubs. People are coming back to have their own setups so that they can feed at least to India, because being a most largely populated country, India is the biggest platform for any product, for any industry. And like the India is going to develop another 100 or more than 100 smart cities, infrastructure in another 30 is going to boom in a big way. Being attached with the infrastructure, the product which we have is directly related with that. The boom is going to come in our industry for the next 30 years.
Okay, let's talk GST. GST has changed the way every industry in India now thinks about taxation, prices, logistics, warehousing, etc. How has GST impacted your industry first and then your business?
See, one thing is very clear after GST. Now we see that state barriers only for the political things in India. For a business now, India is as a one India. We doesn't see any that state barriers for that. This is the biggest advantage. Now there was some cases where we can feed from a city to that nearby towns which are lying in another state, but we can't do that because of that state barriers before there from the GST. Now we can do that. So it is now logistic points which we have to see in India, not the state barriers. Then a lot of products which were there on the higher slab taxation when we used to add excise, sale tax altogether, now have come down to a lower side. So yes, will be less competition in the market with the unbranded and the unorganized market.
Okay, so when you're saying less competition, are we also looking at lesser prices, given that now there's been a rationalization of taxes?
Yes. Now there's one thing very clear, that every product in India will have a one price. Not earlier because of the difference local taxation, we used to have local MRPs. Now it is very clear for any customer, it is one India, one pricing. Secondly, we have passed on all the benefits of the GST to our end users. We have reduced the prices from 5 to 12%, depending on the product to product, whatever the effect we got on our on products.
Okay. In your previous answer, you were talking about logistics and how GST now will help companies that have a logistical footprint across the country and bring down taxation and help rationalize that. Talk to us about your own strategy towards logistics, warehousing, etc. How do you do it at Prayag India?
See, before GST, we were planning to have around more than 200 distributors, so that in a state we can easily distribute our product. After GST, our focus is to have not more than 120 hubs in India, so that any distributor sitting at one place, he can do a mapping of around 100 to 150 kilometers from sitting in area. Whether that area is coming in the same state or not, it doesn't make any impact.
How do you innovate? How do you ensure that you're staying on top of what the market demands? How do you ensure that you understand what the customer wants and you're able to give him or her those products?
See, in designing, we have two kind of team. One who purely work on the design of the product, how user-friendly is the product, how the product is going to look with today's designing of the new housing or new systems. Second team, he works on the workmanship of the product, how the product is going to last longer, how it's going to consume less water with the same kind of flow where the customer expects. So these two teams, they work together to come out. Every year we come out at least 100 to 150 new products where we give better designs, better looks and new innovation.
And how competitive is this market? And your advice for the people watching the show about how you have gone about developing a USP and you're being able to communicate that USP and build that brand for yourself.
See, our brand philosophy is value for money. Whatever, if my product is 100 rupees for the customer, or maybe 10,000 rupees, but it should be value to that customer. He should get the maximum value of what he is going to spend on our brand. Apart from that, if you say about the competition in the market, India is going to grow in a bigger way in the next 30 years. And apart from that, day to day, the market is shifting from unorganized to the organized way. And whatever the rural market is there, they are getting better houses day by day. So the market size is such a big, even if anybody wants to grow 100% every year, or all the companies want to do, even that market size is too big for that.
Okay.
So as such, there is not much competition in the market.
Fair enough. At this point, I would love to talk about the product range that you have, and also any ranges or any products that you're possibly looking at either diversifying into or consolidating that you can talk about.
So we started as a faucet company, diversifying ourselves in the plumbing system, so that we feel when we add plumbing system, then our connection with the plumber will start right from the very first level of when the building is starting. Apart from that, in coming years, we're going to come with more products, like more value-added products. We are coming with the faucet in the gold range, so that anybody making good houses where they have interior related to something gold color or some black color, they're not getting that match with the faucets. So that we are going to offer in next few months.
All right. A last question to you then. What's next on the radar for Prayag India?
Our target in next 3 years, reaching to 25,000 dealer network. Right now we have around 8,000 dealers, and entering into SWR agri market, so that we can connect much better in the rural market.
Sure. And wish you all the very best for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking with us here on ET.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Time for a quick break here on the show, but we'll bring you up close and personal with Deepak Nitrite on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on ET Now. You're watching Super Achievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat. You're continuing to watch two special conversations tonight, the inspirational stories behind Prayag India and Deepak Nitrite.
Chemical industry is pivotal to the growth of any developing economy. The Indian chemical industry contributes 6.7% to the Indian GDP. With its varied product applications, our lives are inextricably linked to it. Vadodara-based Deepak Nitrite Limited is a name to reckon with in the Indian chemical manufacturing space, with a vast product portfolio having applications ranging from agrochemicals, rubber, pharmaceuticals to textiles and detergents. With manufacturing facilities located in Nandesari and Dahej in Gujarat, Roha and Taloja in Maharashtra and Hyderabad, Deepak Nitrite Limited has emerged as one of the fastest growing players in the chemical manufacturing sector. Since its inception in 1970 as a sodium nitrite plant, Deepak Nitrite today has grown into a $700 million global group with footprints in over 20 countries. The group hopes to expand further as it adds more projects to its kitty.
In this segment, we're bringing you up close and personal with Deepak Nitrite. I'm being joined by Deepak Mehta, the Chairman and Managing Director of Deepak Nitrite. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on ET Now, Mr. Mehta. Let's start by talking a little more about the company. I understand that Deepak Nitrite is a major player in the chemical industry since the 1970s. When and how did you see a niche really in the chemical market? Also, if you can elaborate on the evolution really of product mix of the years in the context of import substitution opportunities that we've seen here in India.
So Deepak Nitrite began in early 70s, 1972 to be precise, with just two products called sodium nitrite and sodium nitrate. Those were the days of import substitution, as the government was encouraging a lot of chemical companies to look at making in India more to reduce the imports that were taking place. Deepak looked at the markets that were there in India for dye stuffs and colors, because India used to be Gujarat used to be a very large textile player, and it would need a lot of dyes. Some intermediates that were required to be made required products like sodium nitrite. These products that we started making were otherwise imported from Germany and from UK, and we set up working to replace imports by indigenous manufacturing.
Shares of Deepak Nitrite have seen a steady rise in recent years, creating a wealth, of course, and tremendous wealth at that for your shareholders. What kind of a growth do you really see for your company in the upcoming financial years? Are you planning to look into maybe diversifying your business? Anything that you can tell us on that?
We did realize that if India is growing, the needs of infrastructure will also bring out opportunities for various basic chemicals which are required for infrastructure. And that's how we are now creating a new platform for growth for our chemical business by moving into a product group which is phenol and acetone. So this is a new vertical that we are now getting into, which is singularly targeted towards the Indian market.
Let's talk about demand supply and your own demand supply position and application of phenol and acetone and the overall Indian market dynamics, really, given of course what is happening globally. As this project is aligned to Make in India, what impact is it likely to have on industry and towards growth of downstream activities, as well as, market expansion, as well as your overall business and your overall growth?
When we started looking at what can we do to align ourselves to the India growth story and to make in India for India, we studied a number of business opportunities, and one of the best that we found was this phenol and acetone, a business where the raw material was suddenly getting to be far in excess produced in India and was required to be exported out because India had no enough market for that, and that was benzene. Benzene, a petrochemical input, was getting to be produced more and more as a byproduct in India, and India was required to export almost 1 million tons of benzene. We therefore realized that if we are able to bring value to the same benzene for India needs, we will be able to get a double advantage by seeing that we are bringing value addition on the benzene itself. On the other side, we found that the phenol and acetone business has been growing over the years, and the demand supply gap has grown so large that India is now importing almost 2.5 lakh tons of phenol and over 1.5 lakh tons of acetone to meet its own country's needs. This is the time when we felt that coming up with a world scale plant and having capacities which are similar, we would be just about able to reduce or replace the imports and meet with the Indian markets. So here were these two advantages: a ready market and a challenge for the raw material suppliers who had much in excess raw material availability.
You ventured into a mega greenfield project by setting up nearly a 2 lakh MTP of phenol and a 1.2 lakh MTP of acetone. I wanted to talk to our viewers about the rationale behind diversifying from chemical intermediates to petro intermediates. If you can talk to our viewers about why you decided to do that, the rationale and what the journey has been.
We do believe that the country requires various intermediates for it to grow. Petrochemical is, I would say, in a way a part of the chemical sector, except that all of it comes from related to petroleum. Over the years, as population grows, as quality of life improves, there is going to be more and more need of things that can improve the quality of life of people. And therefore, we were seeing that the demand for the intermediate, for various products like synthetic fibers, like good housing, would propel the demand for petro intermediates. McKinsey recently came up with a study to say that the demand for petro intermediates, which is around 11 million tons today, will cross 30 million tons by 2025. While supply, India is already importing 50% of the 11 million tons today. And by 2025, demands are not met locally, India will end up importing almost 80% of the requirements. And hence we felt that this is the right time to get into a very fast growing business and which is more India centric.
Chemical production companies, is no secret, of course, have a lot of responsibilities when it comes to environmental regulations. I would like for you to talk to our viewers about what the industry is doing and what you're doing in this regard.
So the chemical industry is an industry which on one side can produce miracles. On the other side, it could produce products or byproducts which may harm the environment. It is important for good chemical companies to ensure that they are having a minimum damage or harm to the environment and are constantly caring for the environment. At Deepak, I do know that even when we do research on a chemical product or a new process, by the time we scale up, there is already research being done to see how to ensure that if there are any byproducts, there are any waste streams, they are also environmentally treated very well, and we are ensuring that value is generated without causing harm to the environment.
We were talking very briefly about Make in India earlier, Mr. Mehta. I want you to talk to our viewers about what the domestic Indian chemical industry is doing to gear up really for Make in India, to be able to take on competition from China. Can you also talk about initiatives that you are taking up, especially given that you're FICCI's chemical share?
Today, India is 7th largest player in the chemical business with our total turnover of about 150 to 155 billion dollars. We used to be talking about India growing to about 220, 240 billion by 2025. But since the last 2 years, the type of initiatives the government has been taking, creating 100 smart cities, bringing in more and more value to the people, we do see demand growth improving significantly. And McKinsey as well as Tata Strategic Management have recently put in numbers that this demand could make India become the 4th largest player in the chemical business in the world by 2025. We at FICCI are very optimistic that India could become a place where the total chemical consumption would go up to $400 billion by 2025. So our focus at FICCI Chemical Committee has been to see how much of that 400 billion would be made in India. Otherwise, most of the demand would be here, but most of the supply would come from countries outside. So this is where we have been working with the government to develop various methods, various ways in which competitive manufacturing can take place in India, where we are able to bring in economic value addition, at the same time take care of the environment.
Deepak Mehta, thank you very much for speaking with us here on ET Now. Alright, that wraps up this special episode of Prayag India and Deepak Nitrite. If you have any feedback for us, do remember you can write in at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. On social media, tweet at us at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET Now, or our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow and ET Now, is where you can leave your comments for us. You can also call us on that number you see on your screen. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.